Welcome to session 2 of How to Get Through What You're Going Through. We've all experienced seasons in life that we just want to get through. But when it comes to struggles and setbacks and outright suffering, more than just moving through these rough spots, what if we lingered long enough to learn something about ourselves and about God? In session 1, we explored the difference between complaining and crying out to God. And we learned that sometimes God's activity doesn't always feel like God is rescuing us from troubles. In fact, when God rescued the Israelites, God ended up leading them straight into the desert. And the Israelites began to complain. Really? This is what freedom looks like? A desert? Perhaps we would have been better off as slaves back in Egypt. After all, slavery is better than starvation, right? And so the people of God began to question God, and they started to doubt him. Those questions and doubts stayed with them as their leader Moses led them to the bottom of a mountain. And little did they realize that things were about to move from bad to worse. You see, Moses goes up the mountain to meet with God, and something that, is really good for leaders to do. But little did they know, he would be gone for 40 days and 40 nights. He's up on the mountain, and they're in the valley. He's hearing from God, and they're hearing silence. He's holding the very tablets that the 10 Commandments were on, and they were empty-handed. And so the Israelites collect gold, and they make a golden calf so that they can have an image of God to hold on to. They began to worship it, not realizing that they were settling for a terrible substitute. The Israelites weren't necessarily looking for a substitute for God. They just wanted something to add on to God. They were tired of the silence. They were tired of feeling alone in the valley. They were looking for something that they could grab hold of that would help them get through what they were going through. Isn't that a real temptation that we face to help deaden the pain of our suffering? We don't grab onto golden cows, but maybe we grab onto alcohol, hoping that the buzz will numb the pain in our life. Or sexual encounters, just to feel good for a moment. Or maybe it's a job, overworking because it's something that we can control. When we're in seasons of challenged faith, we can easily turn to things that try to help us get through. It can be hard to grapple with God's seeming distance and his silence, and so we distract ourselves. But there is a more life-giving way. What are you going through? I never cease to be amazed at just how many people are going through tough times. Some are in a relational desert right now. They feel all alone. They have dreams of dating and marrying and having a family, but it feels like God is just totally silent in this area of life. Others have someone in their life, and they may have been married for a long time, but they've never felt more alone. Some are going through a financial desert, and it's just hard to trust. Others are struggling with addiction. Most people are trying to get through something. So, how are you going to get through what you're going through? For many, this season has been a season of tremendous disappointment. You had such big hopes, big dreams, grand aspirations, and it's gone. And it feels like God is gone too. Please know this. It is never God's intention that you go through the pain that you are going through. Never. He did not want this for you. This is not God's dream. But God can use it. And he will use it in ways that will heal you and help others. And maybe in ways that you've never imagined, if you'll let him. So here's what we'd love for you to have space to talk about this session in your small group. First, what do you need to let go of? And second, what do you need to grab onto? What substitutes have you been grabbing hold of in hopes of dulling the pain that you need to let go of? And once we let go of the golden calf in our life, once we surrender, then we're left with 2 empty hands. And that frees us up to hold on to God's presence and the power of community that we find in God's people. Have a great small group.